the line to our next speaker, which is Claudia Lisboa. Claudia, if you want to turn on your camera and unmute yourself, and welcome to the virtual stage. The floor is yours.
Hi, Christian. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's really nice to be here. While I'm trying to share my screen, maybe I can introduce myself. So I work at the UNWTO, it's the United Nations World Tourism Organization. We are a specialized agency from the UN, and our mandate is tourism, as the name says. We have around 150, almost 60 members. Our constituency are ministries of tourism, but also we have partners like academia, other members of the private sector as affiliate members, some observers, and we also have another characteristic. We are not a developing agency, because our members are both developed and developing countries. In our mandate is clearly said what we do, so it's promotion and development of tourism with the view to contributing to economic development, international understanding, peace and prosperity. What is missing here is that we give a special attention to developing countries, although we work for all the members. When I was preparing for this presentation, and to participate in the seminar, I thought, okay, I'm not going to talk about COVID, let's stay out of it. But unfortunately, it's not possible, because in 2019, we had these wonderful figures. So 1 in 10 jobs worldwide were in tourism, 7% of global exports also related to tourism. And then in 2020, we had COVID, and currently the figures are like this. Why I felt that I had to touch upon COVID and the impact it has, because one of the main sectors that was affected was tourism. We were able to do a policy brief at the level of the UN about COVID and tourism. It was also a good way of putting the sector in the spotlight, so everyone understand the weight of the sector. Unfortunately, we have been always the underdogs, and everyone forgets that we are important, how much we move, how many people are involved, and it was necessary to have something like COVID to have appeared. So we have done some studies to see what are going to be the trends in 2022 in terms of what the tourists are looking for, and we have discovered very interesting results, like of course domestic tourism and travel close to home, because it's still related with the restrictions in some places, and others is a question of I feel safe home, more open air activities, nature-based, and looking also for sustainability, authenticity, responsibility, and also the way people are planning their trips is very last minute booking. So when we've done a survey to understand the changes in traveler behaviors, we understood also, was a repetition a little bit of what I'm saying, but it's this being closer, get away, more responsible, and new concerns was very interesting, because really helped us to see sustainability is also in the mind of the travelers, is not only on the mind of international organizations or the private sector. And these are like the main products that we have identified as people talking about. So wilderness tourism, ecotourism, nomadic tourism, authentic tourism. So all these are ways of doing tourism that if we do not take care of the planet and the people that live in this planet, then we're not going to have this type of tourism also. And therefore, I think what we believe at UNWTO is that we need to work with all the pillars of, so all the legs of sustainability, the people, planet, and prosperity, and bring together and collaborate in terms of partnerships. So we need to maximize the power of technology, adapt to new business models, foster better skills, jobs and adaptation, improve the tourism value chain, ensure tourism inclusiveness, nations and communities, leave no one behind. It sounds like very much big words, but these are principles that at the UN and of course at UNWTO we are very close to and we want to keep having. In terms of sustainability and green transition, we have now is when I get more into the theme of, or more concrete theme of our talk today, we have a series of activities that some of them had already started long before the pandemic, like the International Network of Sustainable Tourism Observatories that advances measurement of tourism economic, social, and environmental impact. Also the One Planet, but also we came up with travel restriction reports which are available and where you can learn on travel facilitation during the COVID pandemic, which helps also for the future to better understand what comes next. Also recommendations for the transition to a green travel and tourism economy. And we have always counted with the Committee on Tourism and Sustainability where we consult with the members and experts. And more recently, and I'll talk a little bit more in detail, we have the Glasgow Declaration and also the Global Initiative on Plastics. So the One Planet is a program that has been established to accelerate sustainable consumption and production in tourism policies and practice to address the challenge of pollution, biodiversity loss, and climate change. It operates as a multi-stakeholder partnership and promotes knowledge sharing and networking to define collective priorities and identify solutions. Through its work, this One Planet program sets the SCP agenda in tourism sector and advances in the implementation of Goal 12, which is the main one, but also the others that are related, so 13, 14, and 15, but also part of partnerships as a way of catalyzing this work, because one entity cannot do all alone. It is led by UNWTO, but with the governments of France and Spain as co-leads and in collaboration with the UN Environmental Programme. And the main areas of intervention are, of course, the strategy of One Planet that builds on the One Plan for One Planet. So it's a bigger program that has 6 programs inside, among them ours. And it is articulated in 3 main areas of intervention for the moment. So building a circular economy for plastics in tourism, integrating SCP on tourism food value chain, and accelerating climate change in tourism. I mentioned before that we had we have issued a report about promote the transition to a green travel and tourism sector through 6 lines of action that are set out in One Planet vision, which are public health, social inclusion, biodiversity conservation, climate action, circular economy, and governance and finance. So therefore, again, touching the 3 pillars of sustainability. The Global Tourism Plastic Initiative is led by UNEP, so UNWTO, and in collaboration with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and it is implemented within the framework of the One Planet, but with the support of an advisory group. The GTPI unites tourism sector behind the vision of a circular economy of plastics, so to address the root causes for plastic pollution. It enables businesses, governments, and any other tourism stakeholder to take concerted action, leading by example and shifting towards a circularity in the use of plastics. Unfortunately, the problem of plastics pollution in tourism is too big for any single organization to fix on its own. So to match the scale of the problem, where the changes need to take place across the entire value chain. So the GTPI is anchored in a systematic approach to plastic pollution eliminate all problematic and unnecessary plastic items, innovate and ensure that all other plastics are reusable, recyclable, or compostable, and circulate to keep plastic in the economy and not in the environment. Besides having signatory pacts that are take in consideration the type of stakeholder, but also explain the different commitments that can be defined, and also considering that all these commitments are to achieve the areas of implementation by 2025. We have also created a series of tools and resources that help to support the signatories to implement their commitments, and contains a variety of guidelines, training materials, and reports, as well as a newsletter that disseminates the progress achieved. All this information is available. You can then scan the QR codes or go directly to the One Planet website where you can find this. These are the members. In December, there were 113 signatories from all continents, representing accommodation providers, tour operators, travel agents, supporting organizations, suppliers, and as well as destinations. The other milestone we had lately, and it was already started work, although it was pushed by COVID, is the Glasgow Declaration. Tourism sector is highly vulnerable to climate change, and at the same time, it also contributes to emissions of greenhouse gases, and which are causes for the global warming, as we know. So taking consideration the recent climate-related risks and extreme events, accelerating climate change into climate action in tourism is key for the resilience of the sector. So the Glasgow Declaration acts as a catalyst for increased urgency across travel and tourism about the need to accelerate climate action during the COVID recovery and beyond. It was launched on the 1st of November in Glasgow during the COP26, and it had 300 launch partners. And by December, this had already increased to 466, and from all continents, and representing business, so mainly tour operators and accommodation providers, destination management organizations, and subnational and local governments, but also supporting organizations like NGOs or business associations. The signatories are expected to make 5 commitments and to keep them, which are of emissions by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050, climate action plans that should be delivered within 12 months from becoming a signatory, aligned with 5 pathways: measure, that decarbonize, regenerate, collaborate, and finance, report publicly on an annual basis on the progress, and work in a collaborative spirit. So the recommended actions are also available, and there is also a new letter related to the Glasgow Declaration that is aims to promote and to show how it has been developed, and the first resources were uploaded in December 2021, and its recommended actions. So you can also visit and follow what is being done and how much is appearing. Another act of work of the One Planet is food waste reduction in the tourism sector. Is something very new. So we are starting, we started a few months ago together with FAO. It's a global roadmap, and it's aimed to be a reference for scaling up of sustainable food management in the tourism sector, and including the reduction of food waste. It will encompass a systematic approach with regards to food management and connection with sustainable procurement and sustainable diets, in addition to food waste. The food waste was identified as an entry point for circular approaches in tourism, and can therefore result in diversified income streams, while enhancing these linkages with local communities, creating added value for guests and curbing CO2 emissions. Before I end my presentation, and I hope Christina is still within time, I need to recall something that is very important, and we always forget, that measurement is key. Statistics are very important. We need to know what we are doing. We need to prove how we are improving to our stakeholders, our investors, the banks, to our competitors, to show that what we're doing is taking us in the right place. So how much I have invested in one measure is in fact giving the return on investment that I was expecting. And it is showing that I've taken the good decision. Besides the pure statistics, because as you know, there is the tourism satellite accounts, that is one of the main economic contribution in terms of statistics. We are also working on sustainability with a new statistical framework to measure sustainable tourism, and it should be approved very soon, we hope, and it is being done together with the UN system. But not only is necessary for showing what we have, but also to show how the sector is also contributing to the achievement of the SDGs. Tourism is mentioned in 3 targets of the 17 SDGs. One is on related with decent work and economic growth, on responsible consumption and production, and life below water. But we believe that besides this, tourism also touches upon many other goals and many other targets. And therefore, we have done a study a couple of years ago that is still very up to date, because it alerts you for the different actions that can be taken or are being taken by public policy, private sector, or even of tourism is being financed in terms of aid for trade and partnerships, the need for innovative financing mechanisms. But also we will be soon launching a manual that is created thinking of project level interventions. So we can also show that $1 that is invested in one project as in fact a bigger value. And right now it's quite complicated to show this. So we hope that this can be a way also to help, to inspire and to improve, because all the goals are so connected, and tourism really makes the flow so smooth. Therefore, I invite you to visit our platform Tourism for SDGs, where you will have all this information related with tourism and SDGs, as the name say, but also you can see what others are doing, learn from what they are doing, get inspired in different themes. And I would like to end just with a quote from our Secretary General. I think the main part is the green transformation of tourism sector is needed for the planet, for the people, and for the tourism sector itself. Thank you.
Oh, that was fantastic, Claudia. As always, I love your work, and we're going to have plenty of questions for you at the Q&A panel. So thank you very much, Claudia. We'll be back to you. Excellent presentation, and I think you bring up a really good point that it's sustainability. It's not a trend anymore; it's a necessity.